Hi everyone, it's Michelle with Country Morning Creation, and I'm finally back. I'm sure a lot of you all are wondering where I've gone. And I am a school teacher during the school year, so the last 2 weeks have been the first 2 weeks of school, and then we had a full teacher's week prior to that. So my life has been a little crazy. I actually started making this journal over a week ago, but I have not had any time during the week to work on it, so it's kind of been a slow process. But I'm really excited to present this to you. Now, don't adjust your cameras. It's not that I'm further away, it's that this is a smaller book. This book is, let's see, it is a little like 5 3/4 by almost 4.5, 4 1/4 and a little bit. I made this using basically a Nick the Booksmith tutorial on how to make the curved spines and to get this to be dented like that. So of course I will link her below. This is a hollow back binding. It is a hardcover. I've used chipboard for it, the wooden kind. It is completely covered in this gorgeous fabric, which is actually, dirty. It's upholstery fabric that I was gifted. I have a bunch of it, and so it was like a sampler. So I have upholstery fabric. On the spine, I've added this grommet, just punched right through it with my crocodile. Love that. And I've added this tassel that I put this little sparkly crown on it and tied it with twine. And it's got a little bead at the top, and then this actually can come off, or I can just simply move it out of the way and the whole book will lie flat. What I have used for this entire journal is from the Beloved Society. Dayspring came out with a set of papers and stickers and cardstock and all of that is all one set. So on the cover I've used some brown paper behind it. This was just a piece of the cardstock that was already pre-printed, and I did sew around that. I loved this girl. I love the color of her skin and the pink. So then I put some lace underneath of it, and this was one of the stickers, cardstock stickers. Of course, I had to put a wax stamp. If you know me right now, I'm really into wax stamps. So this was one that I had with a crown, and it goes with the crown there. So the crowned ones, beloved, we are princesses of the king, that kind of a theme. And the reason I created this was to be a prayer/gratitude journal, a place where I could write my prayers and my thanksgivings. I used a Tim Holtz peg here in the front, and then it's just held on, it's closed with that ribbon. So let's go ahead and get into it. Oh, and I forgot to point out, these tabs actually came with the set as well. And I couldn't resist, so I put them on. They don't particularly mean anything. I'm going to move that out of the way. And in the front, you'll see more of this lovely cardstock, and there's a whole lot of different things. One of the things is it came with a set of these cards that I've cut apart. These were some of the cardstock pieces. It also had 2 matching washi tapes, which I'll be sharing with you throughout the book. Then I discovered that I actually have 2 Tim Holtz Distress Oxides. They are Peacock Feather and Worn Lipstick, and I felt like they went beautifully with this. So one of the things I simply did throughout the book, you'll see I took a blending brush and I just brushed on the Distress Oxide to give some more colors, pops of colors. This is such a colorful kit. I wanted to have a little bit more color. So I used all coffee dyed paper. It has been acid neutralized with baking soda. It's made by Hammermill, so it's also acid neutral. So if I decide to put pictures in here at all, I know that they'll be okay. This is a book from a 1930s secretary's book. So it had also a dictionary in it, and I pulled out the page that was about prayer book, prayerful. So I wanted to have that in here. I also have a new Singer sewing machine, so I did a lot of sewing in here. This is more of the ribbon that you see both here and on the end. And there's that dictionary page. This has 9 signatures of 3 to 4 pages each. So these are these really cute little pieces. When I first started doing this, the brush I had washed out was not quite dry. So this is a little bit more intense, and you can kind of see it bleeding through on the back side. And I did this one more time with the blue and then decided I needed to let that brush dry thoroughly. So you'll see how that changes as we go through here. So this is a different kind of lace. So there were 2 kinds of this blue teal lace. Ledger paper, love ledger paper. And then this is the pink, what it looked like. This says, "For we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus so we can do good things he planned for us long ago," Ephesians 2:10. So I love how there's some different Bible quotes in here for this. More of that ledger paper. Oh, wow. This may be like one of the few absolutely blank pages that I left in here. I did a lot of decorating. Usually I leave a lot more. So this is a flip up, so I can write on both sides of this as well as behind it. And there's one of my tabs. I also couldn't resist putting Edith Holden, at least one Edith Holden book page in here. I finally found some graph paper that didn't just melt away. The ink didn't just run off. And again, this is some of that decorative stitching from my new sewing machine. This is more of that washi and a pocket. And this one I left more like a booklet. And I may, if I want to write in here, I'm going to have to put some paper in here. So I'll probably just get some scraps left over and put those in here and use that then to write on as well. So see, this one's not even completely naked on both sides. Dearly loved, and this is, or dearly loved, not loved. And another sticker, more Edith Holden. It came with a set. I also bought the stamp set, so you'll see stamping throughout here. This was one of the stamps. I love this in the pink and how that turned out. And this was a receipt that I have and some other paper. This is probably my favorite of all the stitches that it makes. I just love that vine. But I left all the everything long. Here's another flip that I made. And then this I stamped with brown ink. I want to say this is the Vintage Photo, but it's the Distress ink, not the Distress Oxide. So it's a little bit different. And then this says, "Today I will spread joy." This one I actually glued it down, and I thought about it afterwards. I could have made that a flip as well, but oh well. And there's that other receipt. Then I also have tissue paper. This is a really, really lightweight tissue paper I got from Amazon, but I love it. And then all of mine are sewn in there, the 5-hole pamphlet stitch. I really feel like that's the best way I can do it because I sew each signature in individually, as well as then I can make sure they're really, really good and tight. This is actually something from my grandmother, which is really cool, and I like using that in my own personals. This was more like a crochet yarn than a thick yarn. So this was she used to crochet doilies. As a matter of fact, I have one right here. So she was crocheting things like this, and I know she taught me how to make these. I haven't made them in a long time, but she did teach me how to make these. So this is just one of the things that she used that for. So it's really cool to have something from my grandmother. Another piece of tissue paper. This time I put the washi on it. This says, "I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made." That's Psalm 139, 114. And then this is one of those stickers again at the bottom. This is actually from a children's Sunday school book, but I wanted to have some music in there to go along with all the music that Beth has put in her wonderful printouts, and it says thoughtful on that side. So this is another one of the fold outs. Just tucks right into that pocket, and that's another tab at the top. Again, I just did some stamping and then some sewing. The music. This is a genuine, I know there's a lot of printouts out there, but this is a genuine piece of French ephemera, which I get from Monahan's Papers. I love her stuff. I just placed a new order. This one says, God's heart is for me. In his eyes, I am his treasure. And I liked that and glued that down. This is from an old Agriculture, Secretary of the State of Agriculture book from the late 1800s. I decided to make a tuck spot there just for something different. So that just tucks right up in there. Some more washi and some more stickers. More of that book and that receipt. And then I had this paper as well. And what's kind of fun when I have this is then I can turn the book and write that way. Somebody told me about doing it that way, and I can't remember who it was. So forgive me, but I think a lot of you do that. Another flip where I can write in the back and write underneath of it. And the sewing. This is just some zigzag that I did over the ribbon, and some more washi tape. Then we're almost to the end here. This is the last tab, and I've done this same girl in blue. This is a genuine piece of French ephemera, also from Monahan's Papers. This says loved beyond measure. And then this is a bag. I believe I got it from Britta. Thank you. And I put some of these cards in each side of this bag. And it's the center of this, and there's this one as well that I've made, and on the back it says creative, and these just tuck right down in here. And then this is another fun stitch. It reminds me kind of snowflakes or flowers. I don't know, what do you think that looks like to you? More of that French ephemera, and then at the back it says God has more in store for you than you can imagine, Ephesians 3:20. And I decided it came with so many wonderful things. I wanted an envelope in the back. So I've made a tutorial on how I made this envelope, and I'll be posting that shortly, maybe midweek. So come back and take a look for that. But this holds all of these wonderful extra pieces. So she had all kinds of these pieces along with this. So this one says amen to that. I can go back and glue these in. And then I have I cut out 2 sticker sheets so I can add some of these as well as I go through. And I just love Her Beloved Society girls. And then I've got all these great little words as well. And those all just tuck into the back. And that is my prayer gratitude journal. I do hope to get back to making journals for sale shortly. But for right now, I'm just trying to get used to my new schedule. I've gone full-time this year for the first time, so that has been a little bit different. I'm now full-time. I'm also teaching a business class along with all my home ec classes. It's now called Family and Consumer Sciences, which science has always been part of it, science and math, so I think that's a very fitting name that they renamed it back in the 90s, but most of us called it home ec when we were in school. Some people call it FACS now. So anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this flip through of my prayer journal. I hope that you found something in there that will inspire you to be creative today.